Today, it's my hope to inform you about certain characteristics of body language and what they could mean. So, body language goes as far back as humans themselves do. In any type of communication, there has been some form of nonverbal communication being expressed. And according to Joe Navarro and John Schaefer, former FBI agents who specialized in nonverbal communication, body language, and behavior analysis, and co-authors of Detecting Deceptions, have been quoted saying body language is something that is unconscious and involuntary. And also, in one of Joe Navarro's other books titled What Everybody is Saying, he states that nonverbal behaviors comprise of 60 to 65% of our interpersonal communications. So just over half of all of our communications with others is conveyed using body language. So once we start paying attention to that body language, the facial expressions, the postures, and even the distance between us and another person that we're talking to, in a conversation, an altercation, in a debate, we may better be able to decipher what that person is feeling or thinking internally compared to what is being conveyed outwardly. So understanding what certain body language characteristics are and what they mean is an important part of life that a lot of people, I feel, overlook or really rarely consider paying attention to. So I would like to explain some of the body language that can be associated with deceit. Although it's important to note that Joe Navarro has said a few times in different places, like in his books and some of his interviews and some of his how-to videos, there are no single one movements that can express or signify when someone is being deceitful. So just because someone, doesn't make eye contact and that's the only thing they do, doesn't necessarily mean that they're lying. It's more of a cluster of body language tells that, when observed together, can be an indication of lying. And also, you'll need to set a baseline with the behaviors of a person that you're speaking with, and that's basically just normal behavior that person does. So you can't really read body language on someone you've never met before. I mean, you kind of can, but not so much as well as someone you already know. So the first thing that you would typically look at would be the eyes, because eyes are indicators of many things. When someone is uncomfortable or unsettled or into you or something, their eye contact expresses what they're feeling. So avoidant eye contact is also called eye blocking in Joe Navarro's book titled What Everybody is Saying, and it occurs when someone doesn't want to acknowledge something that is being said or a situation that's occurring. And narrowing of the eyes can indicate disbelief or evaluation to what's being said. The position of the eyebrows, which is like our most notable, thing on our face that we notice, can indicate many things as well. When they're raised, they can mean excitement or interest, and when they're lowered, it can mean anger or sadness. Also, there are the shoulders. When a person's shoulders are pulled up, they're most likely uncomfortable, maybe with the situation that they're in or a question that was being asked. It's kind of a soothing measure, like I want to protect myself, and it makes people feel like it'll help them get through whatever situation that they're in. The hands are another thing to consider and look at when you're reading someone's body language. Their placement and what they're doing can be an indicator to someone's thoughts or emotions as well. If a person is tense or unsettled, the hands have a tendency to tighten up or lace together to perform a self-soothing act to make a person feel better. So all of these things, like the eye blocking and tight shoulders and fidgety hands, can indicate that someone might be lying, especially if you know the person, you have a baseline, and they're asked a simple question like, where were you last night? And they get, freaked out. You'll be able to tell that they're going to probably lie about it. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, it can also be used to figure out when someone is telling the truth. Jeffrey Beatty, a professor of psychology, body language expert, and author of Visible Thought, explains that hand gestures, timing, and physical cues can indicate someone's nonverbal cues, including being truthful. So, even paired with verbal cues, body language can confirm what's being said. So again, if you pay attention to the eyes, you'll have a better understanding of what that person might be thinking or feeling. No one maintains eye contact 100% of the time. That's really weird. That's something that would be very off. Something like eyes darting back and forth or trying to avoid eye contact and not looking at all can mean, something that's typically something of someone who's uncomfortable and doesn't want to deal with what's going on at hand. But if you don't notice the eyes doing anything strange and the person seems relaxed and everything, then they're most likely telling the truth. Also, a relaxed forehead, a relaxed jaw can indicate comfortability. Someone's just relaxed, and also exposing the neck when someone's talking to you, if you're like this and they're talking, that could be a sign of trust and being comfortable around you or being comfortable with the conversation, and there's no reason to lie. As well as also close proximity. If someone stands very close to you, that's also a sign of being comfortable and trust as well. So it's also important to pay attention, or try to pay attention to micro expressions. They're a little bit more difficult to notice because they only last for a fraction of a second, but they can be one of the biggest indicators of what someone is feeling. Carolyn Hurley, a doctor of communication, an expert on facial expressions and micro expression recognition, gives some good insight to reading micro expressions. And she talks about the importance of learning how to do so, reading micro expressions, in her article, "Do You See What I See? Learning to Detect Micro Expressions of Emotion." They can be a huge indicator if someone likes you. They can be a huge indicator if someone does not like you or does not want you around, or possibly might be a danger to you. So one thing about micro expressions, like I said, they only last for a fraction of a second, but they can be pretty noticeable. So widening of the eyes when asked a question can indicate interest and focus. So when you say something to someone and this occurs, it's probably safe to say that they are interested in what you have to say. Mouth twitches is another thing. If you're talking and someone goes, or it's even a small thing, just for a fraction of a second, if they pull their mouth up, they're probably happy or okay with what's being said. If they pull their mouth in kind of tight, they're probably pretty uncomfortable with whatever's going on. Or even down, they're probably not pleased with what's going on. So micro expressions can tell you a lot about someone and what they're feeling. So today I hope I have given you some insight or some interesting information, maybe piqued your interest into doing your own research into body language, and possibly maybe have interested you into implementing it into your own life, to try and better understand the people that are closest to you, or maybe give a better chance to nail a job interview from the interviewer, or even passing some information on to some friends for fun. So thank you.